So much for once again. That is Beulah Multimedia GH in the Upper East Region, Zibla, Bawku West District. Well, so we are continuing, and now we are going to the committee. We are going to the funding of the committee. What did the committee say? Naba Aborago Azoka has explained his own. The Mampuses has also explained their own. Now, what is the committee saying? So we are going to continue at the committee. What is the committee? Okay, so the funding of the committee. The funding of the committee. So now we are in page 11. We are in page 11. Okay, we are in the page 11. The founding of the committee. So the theme of the reference, the theme of reference in this inquiry appear to be very simple, but to the members of this committee, so many important issues are involved, so that it will not be enough to do a strain to the questions whether Aborago Azoka has been customary elected or appointed and installed the chief of the Kusasi area. In the first place, Aborago Azoka is a Kusasi man, and no Kusasi man has ruled as a chief of Bawku since the last 150 years ago. The question whether he has been elected or appointed chief of the area or not after so many years of Mampusi rule in Bawku is a matter which requires more detailed explanation and comment. From the evidence of both Aborago and Yirimia, it is appropriate that the Mampuses have been ruled in Bawku from time in rules stated with the appointment of Ali, the son of Na Tampuri of Naleregu, to guide the trade route between Mampusi and Mosi countries. The question therefore arises whether when Ali came to Kusasis, there were Kusasi chief rules there. There were Kusasi chief rules their peoples. The committee is the opinion that, however, primitive and interpreting the Kusasis might be in those days and has their leaders who were more or less exercise their administrative, judicial power over their peoples. It must be noted that even the last animal has a leader. So now the committee let the whole peoples understand that if the Mampuses said that when they came to Bawku, they only came to prevent their trade because the Kusasis were armed robbers, then per their narration, then that means that even an animal or a large animal in Bawku were having a post or a leader. Okay, so we are continuing from there. If the story is accepted that Kusasis then organized themselves into board of robbers and harassed the slave trade, going to the north, going to the south and from the north, then it will be accepted earlier that these robbers and highwaymen has their leaders. Yes. If the Mampuses said they were not having leaders, and you, the same Mampuses, said they were armed robbers, could armed robber be there without a leader? Then that means they were having a leaders. Okay, so that is the judgment of the committees. So we are still reading. When Ali and later the white man rules came to Kusasis, the inhabitants were not sufficiently organized to resist a peaceful invasion and therefore yield to the rules of the Mamprisi under the white man over all power. There is no evidence of the consequence by the Mamprisis, but it is admitted that in the year 1895, the Kusasis in the Kugurin division defected na Biriga armed and inflicted heavy loss on the Mamprisis. Owing to the timely arrival of the white man in Gambaga, further hosting and possible retaliations by the Mamprisis became impossible. The committee is the opinion that the presence of the Mamprisi chief in Kusasi soil has been very intolerable. J.K.G. Sam, writing on the history of the Kusak, says that were it not for the fact that the Mamprisi chief has been imposed upon them by the Na of Mamprisi, whom the Kusasis regard with a certain amount of awe, it is impossible that they won't have tolerated them at all. The committee believed the evidence of the Kusasis that Mamprisi chiefs were forced upon them by the white men. So now this is what the committee is saying. They said they can now believe that the Mamprisi force, and it was the white men that forced upon them. And the Nairi consequently seized the chieftaincy with the aid of white men. So the Nairi also forced and took over the chieftaincy by the white men. And this evidence borne out by a passage in some history of Kusasi. It has been suggested that in the time to come, these Tindana into bracket landowners and priests would have enforced into chief in the real meaning of the word. So that means Tindana means chief. But you can see that the Mamprisi were saying that the word Tindana means caretaker. So now the committee is now proving the Mamprisis that Tindana means landowner. Tindana means chief. And that is the real meaning of the Tindana. Okay, so they have found them in the Gambaga and expected. So when the British came, however, for the British suddenly arise in Gambaga and then came into Kusasis asking for chiefs. They had found them in Gambaga and expected to do the same in Kusasis. While, however, they were not in evidence, chief had to be produced, however, and laboring to work on a few station building. Though in the same place like Teshi, Tanga, and the most important and most important Tindanis were pushed forward. So that means by then Teshi and Tindana were pushed forward to be chief. Okay. By British. But where Tindanas prove weak and if an efficient chiefs have no importance from Mamprisis, the Kusasis have no accept these imported chiefs, but their feeling can best be described by the word of Sami, who wrote, "They did not object to the sum of their own Tindanes going to the Na with a handsome present and bringing back from Nalerego in returns powerful addition to their factors, which benefit everybody, but for the Mamprusis to be sent to order them about was quite contrary to all their leaders on the subject. The 5 chiefs into bracket Sinibaga, Binduri, Bawku, Teshi, and Tanga. So that means when the Mamprusi came to Bawku, already places like Sinibaga, Binduri, Bawku, Teshi, and Tanga, these 5 places were having chiefs, and by then Mamprusi have not arisen in Bawku. By then the Mamprusi have not come to Bawku. The white men have not come to Bawku. We thank God that we have this book. Both little influence, except among their own immediate followers, and themselves are the first to admit this. This has been the condition of the chieftaincy in the Kusak area generally, and the Bawku town particularly during the last centuries and half. But the Kusases man has not been sleeping. He has been marching with the time, and his ideas for freedom and justice has been eventually been growing. He has been organized and amending. He has been complaining and sometimes kicking with impatient. At least state has been rich. Temple says a native rage and their rules that when foreigner and vote a country, one of 3 things invariable happens. The native of the country become absorbed by the invader. The invader become absorbed by the native of the country. And the native of the country regard their freedom and expelled the invader. Some commented on the state of the development of an invader countries and comparing and contrasting with Kusasi says that their process nearly happened in Kusasi. Members of this committee will go further by saying that the second has happened, and the third process is now happening. Evidence given before us shows that Mamprusi's rules never brings women from Mamprusi, but are contested to marry from Kusasis. Those call themselves Mamprusi's prince in Bawku now all have Kusasis mothers, and in fact, there is hardly anyone who can claim to be wholly Mamprusi by blood relationship. Though the native of the country into Blacket Kusasi have absorbed the Mamprusi inventors. The third process is also happening, first in Bawku and suspending areas. Now, the Kusasis appear to be masters of the situation. They have been in the otherwise majority as far as population is concerned. They have, under the leadership of their own education, of their own educated son, and one or two pieces, launched a very powerful body called the Kusasi Youth Movement, which has a membership of over 80,000. Their influence in the Kusasis is so great that Mamprisi Prince seems to be in danger. But for the fear of the Nairi, who is considered very powerful in the religious aspect, as having descended from Bewa, the most powerful fetish in the area, anything could have happened to the Mamprisi rule in the Kusasi area. Our option is therefore that Kusasis are regaining their freedom and are gradually expelled the Mamprisi invaders. The committee thinks that the present state of affairs in Kusasis area have been accelerated, if not encouraged, by the Mamprisis, who still hold the opinion that the average Kusasis man has no intelligence. The Mamprisi chief still believe that the Kusasis are not capable of ruling themselves, and the Kusasis must acknowledge the Mamprisis as their rulers and masters. If it must be noted that their attitude towards the Kusasis was noticeable in the whole of the evidence given by the Mamprisi was deplorable and left much to be desired. In Yeremiah's own words, while giving evidence before the committee, the area is mildly populated by Kusasis, except that we are also here. So according to the narration of Mamprisi leader by then, Yeremiah, he said the Kusasis are well populated. So the committee is also standing on his points to judge the case here. Into bracket, the Mamprisis, the chief and prince. I do not think that a Kusasis should rule the chief. The Kusasis should rule the Kusasis. They did not beg with chieftaincy. They do not begin with chieftaincy. They also believe in production of food, in plenty and eating. Okay, in planting and eating. Further on, he says, it was bound here, but I have never heard the word Tindana. No one can own land here if Nairi says no. The crowd at Naleregu on the days of my appointment was mixture of Mamprisi, Moses, and Hausa. My installation is complete at Naleregu. After the ceremony, I proceeded to Kusasis to rule the Kusasis and other peoples in the Kusasis area. Since I have gotten that I want, I am not interested in any other case. It is not right to rule peoples who do not want me. But I do not know the peoples who do not want me. I was appointed by the Nairi, and it is our custom. It does not matter what the Kusasi says. I have been appointed their chief. I came back to rule. If the Nairi says I am good, then I am good. It does not matter what my man says. Only the member of my family can be a Bawku Naba. So I'm getting to finish the story like that. Such an attitude towards the Kusasis surely is an indicative towards a more struggle, swiftness and struggle towards a political and social emancipation of the Kusasis tribe. No one in the presence of Ghana, and no matter what part of it, north or south, east or west, would like to be ruled by a chief of another tribe appointed by the head of his tribe to go and rule such other tribe. No tribe, however weak, won't pay comprehensive tribute of cows, sheep, horse, guinea fowls, and millet every year to the head of the state, who unfortunately happen to be a different tribe. The committee think that such practices are the main cause of the Kusasis allegations, and their demand is justified too. So the committee think that if the Mampuses are looking for all these things, then the Kusasis demand are granted. From the evidence, the members of the committee have come to the conclusion that the average Mampuses man in Kusasis area is primarily short of person who looks down upon the Kusasis and demand that must be acknowledged as a supreme person. Evidence has been given of the content demand by the Mampusi rule of cows, sheep, guinea fowl, millet, as well as free labor from the Kusasis. Evidence has been given of the whipping and all kind of maltreatment meted to the Kusasis if they fail to sanctify the mind of the masters. To have tolerated and endured that sort of maltreatment for such a long time may be described as cancerous obedience on that part of Kusasis. But no doubt that they have been watching for opportunity to bank out. Perhaps one of the case of the delay going into the action was due to lack of proper leadership, for it appears that the sanctity attached by this tribe to the person and position of the Nayiri would not permit anyone to rise against or include the displeasure of the spiritual world as a political head of the Mampusi state. The inauguration of the Kusasi youth movement, which has membership of over 80,000 people, including chiefs and educated Kusasis business, on the 6th June 1957, while the Nayiri was going through the various ceremony concerning with appointment of Bawku Naba in the person of Mahama Yirimia. The Kusasis have gathered in overwhelming number in Bawku, also elected and installed Aborago Azoka as the chief of Bawku, and he is the head of all the canton chief in the Kusasi area. According to the evidence on record, which is not rebutted, Aborago is the direct descendant of the farmer, rules Bawku and other owner of the land, no doubt as Tindana of Bawku land. No doubt as the Tindana of the Bawku land. They rules as chief or headman of the local tribe men until the Mampuses arrive. Okay, following sooner or later by the white man. So they mean Kusasis were already in Bawku ruling until the Mampuses arrived, and later on the white men also came. Yirimia have amended knowing Aborago grandfather and father as the occupant of the land around the government area of Bawku, even though they would not admit that they were the owners. A document has been tendered showing that the government acknowledged the claim of Aborago as the Tindana and landowner of the area occupied by the governor, rest house, and courthouse. He has certified that Aborago is an original landowner, having control of the last possession of the land occupied by the Bawku town. According to the evidence, Aborago Azoka was on that day elected by his peoples or unopposed, and the necessary custom and ceremony were gone through. We have received and read very many petitions and representations from all parts of the Kusasis area to the effect that Aborago election and installation has received approval of the Kusasis. It is true that there are few peoples who, for fear of the Nairi, would not readily describe as theirs. Signatures to the new move, but it is beyond doubt that these men will soon realize that the fact that they have better rolled around their tribal head or be thrown out. A few chiefs who has been hesitating to join the struggle for the emancipation have been declared the skin and new canton chief installation by the Kusasis. The step taken by the Kusasis in that direction has, we understand, been challenged by Mamprisi rule and is now the subject matter of the prosecution still in court. We make no further comment on this. We are, however, certified that matter is a part of the general struggle among the Kusasis to throw off the Mamprisi rule and possibly anyone who possessed the movement or the move. The committee is certified that Aborago Azoka was not appointed but elected by his own peoples and installed as a chief of Kusasis area in the place of the usual Nairi appointed Kusasi Naba. The committee is certified that the old method of appointing chief to go to Bawku and rule Kusasis is greatly resisted by the Kusasis. We feel that it is undemocratic as it dictatorial for the Nairi who claim to be the normal owner of the land to send one of his Mamprisi subjected to rule the Kusasis as their chief. We feel that Kusasis will devolve politically and socially as well as economically, but under their own chief than under impotent chief whom they resist. Now we are to the last page. The recognition of Kusasi chief will no doubt receive the approval of all who knows the internal affairs of the Mamprisi state as it is today. Finally, we humbly pray to report to Your Excellency that Aborago Azoka has been customarily elected and installed the chief of the Kusase area. Sign the committee SD Opoku Afare, chairman. Nana Ajeman, Nana Yaw Ajeman Badu, Doma Hene, Lake Canton the second, Tumu Kuru, a member. I hereby certify that this is a true copy of the report submitted by us to the Governor, Lord Histowell. Signed, Nana Ajeman Badu. Now, on the first day, on the 21st day of October, 1958, in the Court of Appeal, Tuesday on 21st day of October 1958, copy Seth Arank Kwanzaa. So, Civic Appeal number 7058. In the matters of the State Council into bracket Northern Region, Ordinance number 5 of 1952, etc. So now, if you want to get this document, where you can get this document, now the people who were there were Yirimia Mamprusi, and applicant were respondent. Okay, and then Opoku Afare, Mr. Azu. The names are very difficult, so let's take them that way. So now we move to the judgment. This is an appeal from decision by which the divisional court granted an order to bring upon be constant the proceeding and report of the committee inquiring and Governor General decision the theory. This court has already made it clear that it will not interfere. This court make it clear that it will not interfere with decision of a lower tribunal by process of prerogative writ except in the petition case, and we cannot feel that this is one of the such cases. The fact of the present case are that the gazetted notice number, so these are the gazetted notice number, the number that the gazetted Naba Aburago Azoka the first, the number was 1893, that is the gazetted number, and then number 76 of the 2nd November 1957 Committee of Inquiry was appointed under the provision of the Section 7 of the State Council, Northern Region, Ordination number 5 of the 1952, to inquiring into the claims of Aburago Azoka to have been elected or appointed and installed as a chief of Kusase area. By subsequent gazetted publication, the report of the committee and the government general funding the theory were notified as follows. The State Council, Northern Region, Ordinance number 5 of 1952, Report of Committee Inquiry. It is hereby notified for general information that the committee inquiring the appointment of which appears under gazetted number 1893 of the gazetted number. Good. So November 2nd November 1957, appointed under the provision of the section 7(1). So, my dear listeners, this is the end of the book. This is the end of the book. And I think I want you to see so far how it is. Also, I will open to the last page and then you also view for yourself. Now, this is the last page. Then you can take a little view and view the number and the gazetted numbers and all the things outside and see how it is. So I think you can look for yourself. Also, I will show you the committee that sit for it. These are the names of the committee that sit for that meeting. These are the name of the committee, right? So I think you can see for yourself. You read for yourself. You see for yourself. You read for yourself. So if you want to get this copy, you see, the little thing I want to talk about this one, or I want to talk about this issue is that, my dear brothers and sisters, from the beginning of the book to the appeal court, from the beginning of the book, we should know where the problem is coming from. Let's fight for peace. Let's understand the fact that if I don't have right, I don't have right. According to the committee report, Yeremia, own narration, said that when they came to Bawku, the Kusasi were armed robbers, and they were robbing. So they only came there to prevent the goods that were traveling from the north to the south. Meanwhile, when they came, there were already 5 chiefs, and that was Bawku, Binduri, Tanga, Teshi, and Sinibaga. So there were 5 chiefs. Before the Mamprusi came to Bawku, there were chiefs before the white man came to Bawku. So why can't we accept? And also the narration, the Kusasi said, okay, fine. When they came, the Mamprusi were being able to rule for about 150 years. You have been able to rule somebody for 150 years. And after the 150 years back, they have taken their own back. Or they have taken their property back. Why can't we stop? My dear opinion leaders, my dear political leaders, and my dear big organizations, I know Americans might have been watching us. The countries, the European countries like Russia might be watching us. Italy must be watching us. Please, UK must be watching us. Any place at all you are watching us. Let's understand the fact that this copy will be able to conclude everything. This document has been able to conclude everything. And to face this document is not easy. If the Mamprusi thing we are telling lies, they cannot stop the fight. The evidence we show, they can go to the court, the appeal court, and fish out the document. And stop all the killing. Innocent people are dying. Children are dying. When are we going to stop fighting? When are we going to stop killing? And the most issue there is that according to this document, Dr. Bawumia was a witness. So, if Momuni Bawumia was a witness, or his father was a witness, whether it was his father or it was he himself, it's the same thing. Why can't the vice president tell his people that what you people are doing stop? Because you cannot get what you are looking for. You cannot get what is not yours. Vice President, please, I'm talking to you. Vice President, please. Please. You are the second gentleman of the land. Your father was a witness, or you yourself was a witness. Whether it was your father or it was you, it's the same thing. Come out and tell your people that what they are fighting for, they can never get it, and they will not get it. Why? Why? Is it that killing people are so nice to you? Killing people are so good to you? Why? Thank you so much and God bless you. Subscribe and also like it for us. My name is Reverend Samson. Have a nice and a beautiful hour.